Hi everyone, it's Big Lee again. So today I thought I would just tell you about my operations room. I've been doing all the videos from here and I have had a few questions about my setup in here. Sometimes I think the camera can give the impression that this room is huge. I promise you it isn't, but I do count myself to be very lucky to have this space at all. So one of the advantages of having a space of my own is I get somewhere to put all my bits and bobs that I've collected over the years. So at one point I had quite a few replica weapons. So I've got a replica from the Chinese film Hero, because I do like the old martial arts film. And I've got a few other weapons scattered around, which I'll show you in a second. But one of the other advantages of having a room of my own is I can get some artwork up on the wall, pictures to inspire me. Now, part of the reasons there's artwork on this wall and not boxes and more storage space is because it's an outside wall, so it gets very cold, and if I put anything up against it I'm going to end up with some condensation issues. So old house, I'm afraid. So what have I got on the wall? Instead of more shelving, more books. Well, Alexander had to go up there, didn't he? It just had to. Hannibal, of course, given that I'm into the Punic Wars. But I've also got King Porus from ancient India. I've got Hugomont, First World War tanks, American Civil War, all the sorts of subjects that I like. Etchings from showing Romans. Dad's Army. Now, who doesn't love Dad's Army? I've been to their museum and I picked this picture up from their museum last year. So I had to get that up on the wall because I do love Dad's Army. And of course, a photograph of an actual operations room from Duxford, actually. Just as a little bit of inspiration and a bit of a style guide for me. And some other pictures from the RAF and the Second World War. There are more pictures, I'll show you them as we go around. But it is nice to just sometimes just stop what I'm doing, look up at the wall, have a look at my pictures, get a bit of inspiration. And I'm always looking for new pictures to go up. I'm sure I'll find nooks and crannies all around the walls that I'll find space for more pictures. It's still early days. I've had the room less than 6 months, so there's still space to fill. One of the other advantages of having a small space of my own is I've now been able to bring together all of the storage that I had around the house. I had bits all over the place, under the stairs, in the boiler cupboard, on top of the cupboards in the bedroom. It drove my wife crazy, and justifiably so. It drove me crazy as well, because it meant I could never find anything whenever I wanted it. And over the last few months I've been finding bits that I've stashed all around the house and bringing them together and bringing them in here. The room's just not big enough to hold all of it, but it's been a good excuse to sort it all out. So I've got lots of storage up here, various boxes that have got bits of equipment in, but most importantly, all of the painted terrain that I've been doing over the years has finally got somewhere to be stored, which means when I want to play a game I can quickly get it out, put it down on the table, and do a game a lot quicker than I used to be able to. I mean, some of this stuff was stored in really inaccessible places, in the loft for instance, and just made getting it out for a game so difficult. So it's nice to be able to have that to hand. Another thing is I had lots of books scattered all around the house. There's more that I'll show you in a second. But these are all like games books, so I've got lots of role-playing books because I did a lot of role-playing before. I've been getting back into that recently. And painting guides and other war games. So lots of books, and as you can see I've also got some things to inspire me, some models, old models, various pieces. My special money collection, which is a bit empty at the moment for special events. But I also collect a few other items. I've got things like a drinking horn that's seen some service over the years. And a powder flask at the site that I picked up last year. Very nice. I'll go into more detail on that in another time. I'll do a bit more research on it. So, you know, things to inspire me. Bits and bobs that, like I say, I had scattered around the house or in packaging. Things that have been bought over the years that never got put on display because I just didn't have anywhere to put them. Well, now I do. So now we're approaching the nerve centre of my operations room, my reference books. Now, again, this isn't all of it. I actually haven't got space for all of it. But what we have here is all my Osprey books and Blandford guides. I find they're fantastic. I've got a nice collection of those, and I've always on the lookout for more. and lots of other historical reference books, plenty of games books, the War Games Compendium, of course, an essential book for these sort of rooms, and an assortment of stuff. And right up in the top I've got a load of old ball games and stuff like that that occasionally come out and get seen some service. And a handful of models on display, because unfortunately the only one thing I don't have really space in here for is a large display cabinet. I could put a display cabinet in here, but it would mean not having a small games table, so it's a trade-off. This room's only 7.5 foot by 7.5 foot, so it's actually not very big. I tried to make the best use of the space available, and you know, no matter how small the area that you get, I strongly recommend having a space like this, because it really is. I found it invaluable in the last few months, particularly during the painting challenge. I got a hell of a lot more painting done because I had a space of my own. But now, quarantine, it's come into its own in a whole new way, because this has become my office as well, 2 days a week. So when I originally put the room together, I had an idea that I was going to be a lot more organised about the way I approached the various things that I'm doing. And so I immediately put up a notice board, which immediately got covered in things like receipts and leaflets from shows, and basically everything I didn't intend the board for. Well, I finally tidied it up and reorganised myself, because I am a bit anal. I appreciate that. That's just me, I'm afraid. So I ended up putting up a timetable so that I can keep track that I have got time to do that writing for the blog, or to do some filming for these videos, or even indeed scheduling some time for the editing side, because that takes almost as long as doing the films. And in between that, I also want to make sure that I've got, you know, that I remember when I've got my paint and chat sessions scheduled for online with the rejects, or when I'm doing that game with the other group. And various other things. So there's a lot going on. As I mentioned before, despite the quarantine, I seem to be busier than ever. I'm still trying to do a full-time job and to keep track of all these other activities, so a timetable is essential for someone like me, because I can't remember it all. I also keep up notes of all the upcoming episodes for the Quarantined Wargamer, just so I can get some ideas. I scribble down ideas, and then eventually when I've got enough, I'll try and work out a rough idea of what I'm going to say in a video. Some ideas don't go anywhere and I've just been throwing them away, others develop into an episode. And the paint chart, well, I've been long wanted to put a paint chart up, because I'm always needed to refer to it to see if there's a colour I particularly need to order. And I was always losing my paint charts, so now it's pinned up and I can't lose it. As for the pictures, painting of the excavations of Troy, and the study of T. Lawrence of Arabia. So my painting disc is actually an old bureau that I bought in a second-hand shop, which works for me, because when I used to have this downstairs in the living room, it meant I could close everything up and it all looked neat and tidy. But it also means that I can use the space in the middle of my room a lot more, because I can still fold it back when I'm not doing any painting. Now you notice I have not one, not two, not three, but actually 4 lamps, because as I get older and my eyes get worse, I do need the extra lighting, and I do find it invaluable. Plus I've got a really bright light up in the ceiling as well, so I don't suffer for lack of light when I'm painting. Selection of paints, there's more stored away, and all my Blandford painting guides and Osprey books, all within easy reach. And there's some storage space underneath that you can just about see. I've got some things like grass tufts and other materials that I need for immediate use on the bases. And behind me, storage for things like spray paints and varnish and spare paints and inks of various kinds. And building materials at the bottom, so I've got all sorts of foams and plastic card and pieces of wood, and just all bits and bobs that I think, oh, that'll come in handy one day. And as usual, they were scattered all around the house, driving my wife crazy. At least they're now all in one place and all nice and neat and tidy. And in the process of moving them in here, I've had a good sort out and decided, what do I really need? What do I want to keep? What don't I? There's a few items still stashed around the house, but don't tell the wife. Of course, no operations room would be complete without an RAF sector clock. My wife bought me this for Christmas, and to be honest, as simple as it is, I'm chuffed a bit with it. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. I love the timing on it. It's actually been very useful. As a sector clock, I can sort of limit myself. I'm going to get stuff done by the end of the blue sector and things like that. So actually I found it remarkably useful, as well as being a very pretty item on the wall. one thing I've forgotten to mention, my lead mounting has finally got a home. This old cabinet I got from an office that was closing down. I picked it up for a song, just 20 quid. I mean, that's next to nothing. These things go for 100, 200 pounds sometimes online. It's metal, so it's nice and sturdy, and I've got most of my lead mounting and plastic mounting in there. There's still some stuff scattered around the house, but the stuff that I need to hand, it's actually proving very useful, because if I'm lacking for inspiration, I have a quick look and I can actually see what I've got, and I keep finding things that I go, oh, I'd forgotten I bought that. I must have had an ooh shiny moment at a show. So very handy to have. So these lovely things I bought specifically for the room. They sent me back a pretty penny because I bought them brand new from a cabinet manufacturer. All metal trays, and I've got them in different sizes so I can store my painted miniatures. I'm already a long way towards filling them all, so I'm going to need some more. No idea where I'm going to put those particular cabinets, but at least I've got somewhere decent to store them. I had painted models all around the place in different types of boxes, and most of them unsuitable, and in fact I had some models that had been damaged by damp because they'd been stored inappropriately. Well, now they're stored in the luxury to which they deserve, so I can't recommend these highly enough. As expensive as they were, best purchase I've made for this particular room. So last but not least, and probably the most important item in here other than the painting desk, it's my games table. Now my games table was pretty small. It's not quite 3 foot by not quite 4 foot. It's not designed to be a games table, but it does the job, and I wouldn't be able to fit much larger in here, to be honest. I am considering making a top for it when I can finally get out and buy some wood. I think I might make a top to extend the table just a little bit so that it is truly 3 by 4 foot, but that really is about as big as I could fit in here. But it does the job. I play mostly 6mm or 15mm or skirmish games, and they would all fit on here. Needs must. If I had a bigger room, I'd have a bigger table, but it does the job. And to be honest, being able to have it left set up is brilliant in itself, because I've always had this to pop up when I wanted to play a game, but I've never had anywhere else to do it other than the living room, and you can't leave a game set up. Whereas here I can get my stuff out of my storage, set up a game one day or over a period, a couple of days, tinker with the layout, play on a different day or over a period of days, and during the quarantine this room has come into its own, because this is also doubling as my desk because I'm having to do some work here. So having a study, an operations room, a space of my own has proved invaluable, not only in terms of my hobby, which frankly is going through something of a renaissance at the moment due to all the time I have on my hands, but also it's enabled me to do some work from home, which is helping me keep my family safe and other people safe as well. Absolutely invaluable. So there you have it, that's my operations room. Apologies to anyone that hasn't got a space like this. I didn't mean to rub it in. Really the purpose of this video is just to extol the virtues of having a space of your own. I used to have a little corner of the living room for many years, and I'd get all my painting done, but it wasn't ideal, and it wasn't a decent game space. It wasn't a place to do any work. Whereas up here I can isolate myself, whether it's just for 15 minutes or a couple of hours, it doesn't make any difference. It's the fact that I've got a little bit of space where I can clear my head, I haven't got any other distractions, I can have my own music on, I've got my own items up on the wall, fingers of inspiration, all my books to hand, I can play games quickly, and during quarantine it's come into its own as an office as well, because as I say, 2 days a week I'm working from home. So I highly recommend the opportunity. If you get a chance to have a space, whether that's in a spare room, cupboard under the stairs, down the shed, I would say to you, take that opportunity, because it will make a huge difference to your mental well-being and your hobby. So as always, I just want to sign off by saying that I hope you're all well and your families are keeping safe and getting through this quarantine and coronavirus. So as always, if you want to leave some comments, please do leave them in the comments section below, or you can leave comments on my blog or on Twitter. Visit the Posties Rejects Facebook page, and please, if you feel so inclined, please subscribe. The button will be appearing up here any second now, and until next time, look after yourself.